may go down as well. Several of those light poles have gone down during the about the last hour and a half. To hear this debris flying around and to hear the wind howling like this, like I said, is very eerie, and it can be a little bit scary as well. I would recommend that if anybody is around in Charleston, don't go outdoors. It can be very, very dangerous. Let's get back to you.
And this is Mike Seidel in Wrightsville Beach. Jeff, unlike your concern there with the wind right now, our big concern in this area has been heavy rainfall. Up to a foot of rain has accumulated so far in the Wilmington area. And the drive here from Myrtle Beach to Wilmington late this afternoon and this evening was nothing less than harrowing. Now, we left Myrtle Beach with gusty winds, 40 to 50 miles an hour. Coming up Highway 17, we found a car which was submerged. Many areas along 17 in Brunswick County, southbound, were just closed. 3 to 4 feet of water. In fact, as we drove through some of the water, we saw some debris, and we created almost a river, almost a boat-like scene here on 17, and some tough driving. Now we're at Wrightsville Beach, just off to the east of Wilmington. We can't go over the causeway to the beach. They've closed down the beach access because of the dangers of Floyd. Right now, as you can see behind me, a little bit of wind, a little bit of rain, but basically it is very, very tranquil, kind of eerie. Unlike what Jeff has seen all day, we're expecting the worst of the weather overnight tonight. Even though we will likely not take a direct hit here, we will get brushed by Floyd, and we're expecting at least hurricane-force wind gust. And so for the overnight period, expect more rain and high winds and rough surf. Right now, the worst of the weather should be along the coast and up towards the Outer Banks of eastern North Carolina. And you don't have to be along the beaches to experience Floyd, as we've seen, in fact, in the interior, over in the Triad, over around the Durham area. Kristen Dodd has the latest on some heavy rain there, too. Kristen?
Well, indeed, Mike, the heavy rain is the story here with Hurricane Floyd. Over a couple of inches having fallen just today, and we do expect possibly another 5 to 6 inches of rainfall. And it has been coming down quite heavily, very tropical rain moving through this region. So we do expect to see a problem with some flooding. Now, not only is it the rain associated with Floyd, but remember, Dennis also came through this area just a few weeks ago, and that dumped over 6 inches of rain in the Raleigh-Durham area. So we could be seeing a lot of saturated ground, and that could help topple the trees throughout this area when the 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts come overnight. It's rather eerily reminiscent of 1955, when this area had 2 hurricanes come through within just 6 days of each other. That's when over 200 people were killed because of the flash flooding. We are under a flash flood watch. We are also now under a tornado watch until tomorrow morning, and the tornadoes also could be a threat as those outer rain bands continue to kick on by. Christina, back to you.
All right, Kristen and Jeff and Mike, thanks a lot for those reports. We'll check back in with you in just a bit. Of course, in addition to our live coverage, we've also been covering it here in studio, and we now go to our expert desk with our hurricane expert, John Hope.
Well, thanks, Christina. Good evening, everybody. North-northeast is the movement, and it's headed right in the general direction of Wilmington. And our last advisories from the Hurricane Center was about 150 miles away. It's very likely not much more than 110 or 15 now, because it's headed right in that direction. We haven't seen much deviation from that course. Of course, this is a little bit east as well as north, so it's going to take it a while longer to get there, sometime in the wee hours of the morning. But we think it will come very close to Wilmington, close to Wrightsville Beach and Carolina Beach, and it doesn't vary a whole lot. Now, looking at the Gulf Stream here, and this is a schematic diagram of where the Gulf Stream is, and we've been following the eye of the hurricane, and now, just the last couple hours, we see it getting over to the left a little bit. This is Wilmington right here. Jeff is here in Charleston, where he's been experiencing winds of certainly gusts to hurricane force, and that's because he's very near there, just a little over 100 miles. But the good thing about it for Charleston is that it's moving away from there now. As it moves on up there, it'll be getting farther and farther away from Charleston. On the other hand, Wilmington, Wrightsville Beach, Carolina Beach is going to be getting closer and closer in the next few hours. Now, it's down to 115 miles an hour, and that is something that we're glad of, but I want to show you this tremendous rain area. This interaction between the front and the hurricane extends all the way up to the mid-Atlantic states. But right here in North Carolina, the rains have been torrential, a wide area of 10 to 15 inches of rain, a whole lot more to come, because along the path of the hurricane as it moves up this way, there's going to be continuous rain over areas that have already rained a whole lot. Here are the wind gusts just in the last hour or so, and there you see that 62 miles an hour at Charleston. Very windy there indeed. The forecast swath up toward the northeast and in general, and how strong it's going to be when it gets up here in the mid-Atlantic states and New England is going to depend a whole lot on how much land it goes over here in North Carolina. If it doesn't go over very much, it's going to stay stronger, we think, up in the northeast. We'll be back with much more, and now back to Christina.
All right, John Hope, one question I had for you, of course, one impact of a hurricane is the storm surge. What kind of storm surge can folks in North Carolina and South Carolina expect?
Well, in South Carolina, Christina, I don't think they'll get any significant storm surge at all because the wind at the time the eye approaches is going to be offshore there. It's already north wind at Myrtle Beach and north at Charleston, so all those winds are offshore. The storm surge is going to be near where the eye crosses the coast and on up to the northeast. That would be where the strongest storm surge will be. Now, this hurricane is not as strong as it was, but we're still looking at something in the order of 10 or 11 feet of storm surge.
Of course, we've been talking a lot about Hurricane Floyd, but a lot of folks are watching Hurricane Gert, too. Is that a reason for concern?
Well, it's pretty scary to look at Hurricane Gert out there. It's a very powerful hurricane. The top winds are up to 150 miles an hour, and it's headed straight west. It's not north of the Leeward Islands yet. But all our indicators tell us that in about 48 to 72 hours, it's going to begin to turn toward the northwest, and we think it will go north of the Caribbean islands, north of Leeward Islands, north of the Virgin Islands, and north of Puerto Rico.
All right, John Hope, thanks a lot for that information, and we will check back in with you in just a few minutes. And that's it for Hurricane Floyd for right now. We want to take a look now at the rest of the country's weather, and for that we head to the studio with Kim Perez.
All right. Thanks a lot, Christina. Let's take a look here at what's going on currently out there tonight. We do have the front that's working.
This is the Fox 5 10 o'clock news.
New York and New Jersey are bracing for Floyd. Evacuations are